Both races, gone. No replacements, no substitutes, nothing. The Bahrain Grand Prix and the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix will not take place in April, and Formula One has made it crystal clear there is nothing coming in to fill those gaps. 2 empty weekends, but the ripple effects go deep. Logistics chaos, tens of millions of dollars in the balance, equipment stranded behind locked garage doors, and yes, your tickets, your flights, your hotel bookings. All of that coming up. Because if you had plans to be in Bahrain or Jeddah this April, like we had as accredited journalists, you need to be watching this video right now. All of that and a whole lot more coming up. The Bahrain Grand Prix, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, both canceled. And critically, Formula One has decided there will be no replacement events whatsoever in April. None. The 2026 season now consists of 22 races, and that's that. And it's not just the Formula One cars either. The Formula 2, Formula 3, and F1 Academy rounds, all gone as well. An enormous chunk of the racing calendar wiped out in one decision. Now, the official announcement came on early Sunday morning local time in Shanghai, and the timing was very deliberate. Formula One did not want this overshadowing the Australian Grand Prix, nor the Chinese GP in their festivities. And frankly, that was the right call. The statement itself was a picture of unity. Stefano Domenicali called it a difficult decision, but unfortunately, the right one. FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem was equally measured at saying safety and well-being of the community comes first, always. And both circuit chiefs from Bahrain and from Saudi Arabia were gracious, supportive, and made very clear they want Formula One back as soon as circumstances allow. But here's what was happening behind the scenes while Formula One was trying to keep things calm in Melbourne. The team principals were already feeling the pressure, and badly, because while the official world was staying quiet, every team was staring at a very real operational crisis. Haas team principal Io Komatsu said it plainly on Thursday in Shanghai when asked when teams needed a decision. His answer? Last week. Honestly, the sooner the better. And you can understand why. Every single team had equipment sitting in Bahrain, set up in the garages from pre-season testing. Impossible to move without physically sending staff in. On top of that, a second set of gear sitting in boxes in Jeddah, ready to be deployed. Komatsu put it simply, whatever's in Bahrain, it's not going anywhere. Everyone's got 2 sets stuck there. It's a big problem. And it's not just the equipment already in the region. Teams were actively building parts back at the factory, components destined for Bahrain, while nobody officially knew whether the race was happening or not. You're committing resources, money, and engineering hours to a race that may never take place. As Komatsu said, you're building bits for Bahrain that you might not need until Miami. Now, let's just step back for a moment and look at what this actually means for Formula One as a whole. Because this isn't just 2 races. This is half of Formula One's entire Middle Eastern presence, gone in one move. Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Abu Dhabi. That's the 4 pillars of F1's Middle East strategy, and 2 of them have just fallen over. The financial hit alone is staggering. These are not small races. Each of these events was bringing in many tens of millions of US dollars. We're talking about 2 of the most lucrative rounds on the entire calendar, and both of them gone. That is a sizable hole in Formula One's budget for 2026, and it lands on someone's desk. Whether that's Formula One, the promoters, or a combination of both, someone is absorbing a very painful financial blow right now. However, insurance will cushion some of the blow. And then the question everyone is asking, what about Baku, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi later in the year? Well, there is no decision on those. Not yet. Formula One is not going to make a call on races that are still months away based on what is happening today. But let me be very clear, those races are being watched very closely. If the situation in the region continues to deteriorate, Baku and Azerbaijan, Qatar and Abu Dhabi are absolutely in the frame for further disruption. Nobody is saying that officially, but nobody in the paddock is pretending otherwise either. Now, why not just reschedule or simply replace them with other cities? Formula One did genuinely explore options. Melbourne put their hand up, Portimao was considered, Istanbul was looked at, Imola was in the conversation, even doing a double header in Japan was considered. But here's the reality. The modern F1 calendar, designed for 24 races, doesn't allow for a lot of flexibility. It is not a show that you can just pick up and drop somewhere else at 6 weeks' notice. The television infrastructure alone is an enormous undertaking. You've got freight, you've got hospitality, you've got team logistics, and critically, as we've already discussed, a significant amount of that equipment is currently locked inside a circuit in Bahrain that people cannot even get into right now. The planning window simply wasn't there, and Formula One made the right call. A rushed, poorly organized replacement race would have done more damage to the sport's image than no race at all. So 22 races it is, and we move on. So with 4 weeks suddenly opening up in April, what does the paddock actually do with itself? Well, don't feel too sorry for the drivers. They won't exactly be sitting at home watching Netflix. One driver manager I spoke to was very clear. The simulators will be running hard. Marketing commitments that have been pushed back, shuffled around, or simply piling up, April is the window to get all of that done and dusted. Clear the diary now. Free up the rest of the season. Smart thinking. The teams? For them, this break may genuinely be a blessing in disguise for certain outfits. And one team in particular will be using every single day of it to play catch-up with the rest of the field. We are talking, of course, about Aston Martin Honda, the power unit and battery vibration issues that have been causing headaches since the very start of this season. They now have a full, uninterrupted month to dig into those problems properly. No race weekend pressure, no freight deadlines, no distractions, just time. Pure engineering time. And whisper it quietly, we may even be talking about a fundamentally redesigned power unit, targeting the original source of those vibrations. But let's not kid ourselves. Aston Martin won't be the only ones burning the midnight oil. Red Bull and McLaren both have their own homework to do. And you can bet that every team up and down the pit lane will be pushing hard through April. Because when Miami comes around on May the 3rd, nobody will want to show up, having wasted a single day of this unexpected window. Now let's talk about the most important people in all of this. Not the teams, not the sponsors, not the television networks, the fans. Because if you had plans to be in Bahrain or Jeddah this April, this section is specifically for you, and I want you to pay close attention. Let's start with flights. A number of airlines have already suspended services into Bahrain. And here's the thing, if your airline is no longer flying to your destination, that is strong grounds for a full refund. Even on a non-refundable ticket. The airline cannot hold you to a booking for a flight they are no longer operating. Contact your airline directly and do it today. Don't wait. The sooner you're in that queue, the better your position. Hotels, same principle applies. Now, I know a lot of you will have booked non-refundable rates to save a few dollars. Completely understandable. But here's the argument you make. If there are no flights getting you there, it is entirely unreasonable for a hotel to hold you to that booking. Contact them directly. And if you booked to a third-party platform, in the past we had great experience with Booking.com. Both other leading services such as Expedia.com offer similar refund policies. They all have customer service teams dealing with exactly this situation right now. Be polite, be persistent, and get it in writing. Tickets themselves. Both circuits are now processing refunds. Check your terms and conditions carefully. Find the official refund process from the circuit directly and act on it quickly. Don't sit on it. The fans deserve to get their money back. So please, don't delay. Make those calls today. So where does Formula One go from here? Let's be honest about both scenarios, because there is a best case and there is a worst case. And right now, nobody knows which one we're heading towards. The best case, and I genuinely hope this is the one, is that a diplomatic resolution comes within the next few weeks, 3 weeks, perhaps a month. And if that happens, Formula One is actually in a position to help the region, to actively support the recovery of the region. Ticket sales, hotel bookings, the enormous economic engine that a Formula One race brings with it, all of that can flow back into Bahrain and Saudi Arabia relatively quickly. Both circuits have been unambiguous. They want Formula One back. The partnerships are strong, the relationships are intact, and the passion for this sport in both countries is absolutely genuine. The worst case, and we have to acknowledge it, is that this becomes something more prolonged, a simmering, unresolved conflict that sits in the background for months, perhaps longer. We've seen that with Russia and Ukraine, and the impact that had on the region. And if that's the trajectory here, then Baku, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi later in the season face real and growing uncertainty. Though at that time, both FOM and FIA will have a wider range of options to replace these races, most likely with other European races. That is not a conversation anyone in Formula One wants to be having now, but it may be one they cannot avoid. What we know for certain is this. From here, the calendar runs Shanghai, then Japan at Suzuka, and then nothing until Miami on the 3rd of May, followed by the Canadian Grand Prix. And then the European season builds from there. This is not the first time Formula One has faced challenges this deep, this complex, this unexpected. This sport survived the Second World War. It came through COVID. It has navigated geopolitical crises before and come out the other side stronger. They will manage this like they have always managed it before. More importantly, Formula One will come back to the Middle East. That much I'm confident of. The region is too important, the investment too deep, and the commitment on both sides too strong for this to be anything other than a pause. The question is simply, when? And that, unfortunately, is not a question Formula One gets to answer on its own. But I want to hear from you. Do you think more races are at risk? And if they are, which circuits could realistically step in as replacements? Portimao? Istanbul? Imola? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one of them. And on that note, if you found this video useful, please hit that like button. It genuinely helps our channel grow. And if you want more reports and paddock insights right from the track, hit that subscribe button. There are a lot more of these coming. Thanks for watching.